The American Express Gold Card. It's really not the everyone card a lot of people make it out to be. However, an excellent card to have if it works out for you. In this video, I'll be breaking down everything about the Amex Gold Card, what I think about the Amex Gold Card since using it for 3 years, and why it's not the card for everyone. I'll have chapters in this video, so skip around to the section that is most relevant to you. First, what are the multipliers on this card? Actually very impressive. You'll get some of the highest multipliers in the credit card space, with 4 times points on dining, so that would include restaurants, fast food, takeout, and delivery. However, sometimes drinking places like bars don't count, and bakeries sometimes don't count as well in my experience. Also, takeout and delivery only earns 4 times points in the United States. Restaurants are worldwide, so that's cool, but very restrictive compared to some Visa and MasterCard codes. So that sucks, but I assume most of your purchases will be in the States. But not only does dining earn 4 times points, you'll also get 4 times points on groceries, but like the dining multiplier, also restrictive in a sense, because it does cap at $25,000. So every purchase after that only earns 1 times points. However, that shouldn't be a problem because according to the USDA, a family of 4 that doesn't watch their grocery budget and buys whatever they want, they spend on average $1,563.20 a month. So that would mean they spend $14,758.40 a year on groceries. Still way below the $25,000 cap. Not a problem. But what is a problem is you'll only earn at US grocery stores. It's a problem because I hear a lot of the time in the credit card community of people saying the Amex Gold Card is a travel card and think it's comparable to the Chase Sapphire Preferred, or it's the baby version of the Platinum. Maybe it's because you'll earn 3 times points on flights if you book directly with the airlines or on the Amex travel portal, and there are no foreign transaction fees. But with these restrictions, it's definitely not comparable to the Chase Sapphire Preferred in travel multipliers, where the Chase Sapphire Preferred has multipliers for ride shares, taxis, and other transportation services. And the Amex Gold is very restrictive to only the United States, with the only real multiplier you can use outside of the United States is using the Amex Gold at restaurants. But many international locations don't even take any sort of Amex. So the Amex Gold is not a travel card at all in my opinion. And the last multiplier is 1 times points on everything else, which I would actually value at 2 points. So that means 8 times points on dining and groceries, 6 times on flights, and 2 times on everything else. Because the points you earn are MR points that you can use to transfer to travel partners, like for airlines Aer Lingus, Aeromexico, Aeroplan, Air France, KLM, ANA, Avianca, British Airways, Cathay Pacific, Emirates, Etihad, Hawaiian, Iberia, JetBlue, Qantas, Singapore, Virgin Atlantic, and my preferred airline, Delta. Because with the Amex Platinum, I get free lounge access to Delta Sky Clubs, and Delta goes to most US locations while offering a pretty good experience, and with hotel partners including Marriott, Choice Hotels, and Hilton. But honestly, I wouldn't worry about the hotels. They are some of the worst ways to redeem your Amex points. Most of the time, they aren't even worth 1 cent per point, unless you stay international. Honestly though, you'll get the most value from your points if you travel internationally, but overall you'll have to pay way more points compared to a domestic vacation. But you're going to travel internationally anyways, you definitely find even more value than 2 cents per point. However, for me, traveling with Delta Domestic with an average of 2 cents per point is satisfying enough for me in my opinion. Also, there are other ways to redeem your points, but I highly discourage it, like using your points for covering charges. It's basically the same as cash, but you'll only get 0.6 cents per point, making your points worth about half a cent. So you had a $10 charge and wanted to use 1,000 points to cover that charge, you would actually get $6 and you have to either cough up another 667 points or pay off the remaining $4. Not good. Another option is to redeem your points on Amazon, but the same problem with what we talked about. The value is only 0.7 cents per point, so still terrible. You could also go shopping with stores that partner with Amex, but most of the time the value per point is only half a cent. And the best of the worst options is to redeem your Amex points towards their travel portal, because you'll still only get 1 cent per point for air travel and 0.7 cents for hotels, rental cars, vacations, or cruises. Still terrible. The only decent option to redeem your Amex points if you don't travel is to pair the Amex Gold with the Charles Schwab Platinum Card by Amex and redeem your points for 1.1 cents per point. Not terrible, but also not great. Honestly, you don't have any plans to travel internationally or domestically by plane anytime within the next 5 years, the Amex Gold Card might not be the card for you, and you can't redeem the points to the fullest value. But now that we've gone over point value and redemption options for the Amex Gold Card, what are the extra benefits and insurances you get with this card? Because they are really nice. Like, you'll get baggage insurance in excess of $500 for checked bags and $1,250 for carry-ons. Trip delay insurance, which will activate after a 12-hour delay. It'll cover reasonable purchases like hotels, food, toiletries, chargers, and medications. Basically stuff you could need but not want. Up to $300 2 times within a year. But you don't fly, The Amex Gold Card does come with a rental car damage waiver, which means when you rent a car, you can decline the damage waiver insurance, which covers for damage and theft. But to be clear, not liability, which will be usually covered within your own personal insurance. If you don't have car insurance, I would recommend paying for the liability insurance, which is different than the collision damage waiver insurance. Another thing too about the damage insurance is it is secondary, which means you have to go through your own personal insurance first, unless you pay for the Amex Premium Car Insurance, which does cost $12.25 or $24.95, depending on the plan you choose. But it is a better option than the insurance offered by the rental car place, because that one charge will cover the whole time of your rental up to 42 days. Way better than being charged per day. However, to activate the insurances I just mentioned, you have to put the charges on the Amex Gold Card, and it's really not the best card to use for travel in my opinion. Other insurances is the extended warranty, which will increase the warranty up to 5 years, and purchase protection for damaged, stolen, or lost items within 90 days. Up to $10,000 per item and $50,000 per card. That's basically all the main insurances. However, there are other benefits you'll get when you hold this card, like having access to the Global Assist hotline, which will help you out of a tight spot if you are 100 miles away from your home, by getting you in contact with medical and legal assistance, emergency cash wires. However, this service is just connecting you with what you need. It's not free. You are still responsible for the charges and fees for those services, but this service can be really helpful if you don't know the area and know what to do. Other benefits when you hold the Amex Gold is Amex is a giant partner with a bunch of entertainment, which can give you exclusive access to events and seats that are reserved for only Amex card holders. I don't think you need to pay with the Amex Gold Card to unlock access to the seat. Just type in your card number to unlock the seat. Most of these experiences are usually only in big cities like New York City, Washington DC, Chicago, etc. But they can be very nice. And the last major benefit of the Amex Gold is getting access to the hotel collection when you book through the Amex travel portal. I'm gonna be honest, not that impressive, but could be worth it sometimes, because you'll have more of a chance being upgraded and you'll get experience credit, usually averages around $100. However, you have to book at least 2 nights and the hotels listed can be more expensive compared to booking it using other ways. But did you know the Amex travel portal has the lowest hotel rates guaranteed? Basically, you can submit a claim if you found a lower price on a different website for the same hotel, dates, room type, and the number of adults and children for a prepaid reservation, and they'll price match it. I personally haven't tried it yet, but good to know in my opinion. Now, all those benefits and multipliers are pretty great, but there is something you really need to understand before you apply for this card, that it's a charge card. What is a charge card? Well, it's basically very similar to a credit card, other than by the end of the due date, you have to have paid it fully. Well, that used to be the case, but now Amex has offered on their charge cards the pay over time feature, which basically lets you keep a balance after the due date if you didn't pay it off, and you'll owe it interest on that balance. But you won't be late if you make the minimum payment. So basically, the Amex Gold Card is basically a credit card. I honestly don't see that much of a difference in my opinion. If you do want to use this feature, it does have to be activated. So keep that in mind. I would much rather you being paying interest than late on a payment. Definitely a bigger problem. Amex also offers Planet. Acts the same or at least similar to Affirm, where you can split charges over $100 into equal monthly payments, 10 plans maximum, and just pay a service fee instead of interest. Could be a cheaper way compared to paying interest, but still not recommended. I think though, in my opinion, if you don't have enough self-control or money to be paying off the gold card every month, I don't think you should get this card, because the fees for this card is quite higher compared to the average credit card in the market. The Amex Gold Card has an annual fee of $250, so quite a chunk of money to put down on a card. If you already don't have enough money to be fully paying off this card. And for the authorized user cards, if you wanted to attach someone to your account, is generally free, however up to the first 5 people, with each card after that costing $35. So there can be a lot of fees attached to this card if you don't know how to properly use it. Now here's the real test to see if this card is right for you, the infamous American Express credits, which will make or break this card. When used properly, and this is important, and naturally, only makes this card worth getting. They are the dining credit and the Uber credit. Each will give you $10 every month, so $20 total every month, meaning $240 a year, thereby seriously reducing the annual fee of $250 to only an effective annual fee of $10. Now that sounds great. You're only paying $10 to get an excellent card with awesome benefits. But hold on, let me explain. The dining credit is really restrictive. Only allowed to be used at Cheesecake Factory, which if you're a foodie, you do not eat there, it's a fact. Goldbelly, which is like a food delivery service like in the mail. Wine.com, they sell wine. Grubhub, which you can use to order pickup from a restaurant. It's not a bad option, but some places have increased prices on Grubhub, thereby eating away at your dining credit. Shake Shack, which isn't a bad option to use your dining credit if you have access to go to one. And Milk Bar. And if you don't like Milk Bar, this card is not for you. Milk Bar is a masterpiece, the top tier of cookies, ice cream, and cake. So if you don't like Milk Bar, you are not a foodie, why have this card? Because there's only so much you can spend in groceries groceries. I would say most people only spend $500 a month. People usually get the most back in their money from the restaurant category, if I'm being completely honest in my opinion.
Packing literally everything.
So I would say no one eats at Cheesecake Factory, Goldbelly, and Wine.com. Maybe that's like a once a year purchase, not once a month. Grubhub as a last resort if you can't find another way to use the dining credit, with, in my opinion, Shake Shack or Milk Bar being the best use case in my opinion. Because you can use the credit in store, there isn't a markup. The only issue is they don't have many locations, mostly condensed in cities. And for the $10 Uber credit could be a problem to use properly if you own a car, because most likely you aren't ordering Ubers at least once a month, which is the best use case to use the Uber credit. Because even though you can use it on Uber Eats, the prices on Uber Eats are jacked to the moon. The highest markups I've ever seen from a food app. The only way that sort of makes sense to use the Uber credit on Uber Eats is if you pair it with the Saver One Capital One card. With the Saver One card, you get a free Uber membership for a year, which can offer major discount coupons like 40% off, which makes the increased prices not a big deal. But with the Saver One, you'll also get a whopping 10% back on Uber Eats at the moment. And maybe you're asking, so what if I don't use all the credits? The Amex Gold card still has pretty great multipliers. No, you're mistaken. On the surface, they look great and they are good multipliers. But nowadays, many credit cards offer 3 times back on dining and some offer 3 times back on groceries. Especially like the card I just mentioned, the Saver One, earns both 3% back on dining and groceries with no annual fee. So even though the Gold card earns 4 times backs, compared to other cards, it's more like 1 times back. So to earn $10 back in multipliers, you have to spend at least $1,000. With each dining and Uber credit you don't use, you have to spend $1,000 to make up for it, not including the effective annual fee of the first $10. So seriously, think if you can use the credits I just talked about, especially naturally. You shouldn't need to change your habits drastically just to be able to use the credit. But while you think about that, here's another way you can offset the annual fee. Amex Offers. What is Amex Offers? They're basically coupons. Most are junk. Many of the best offers are on the Amex Platinum. I'll talk about this card in another video, but there are some pretty good ones on the Amex Gold card. Like I got these Amex offer credits by using Split to Pay, which is basically a built-in Venmo in the Amex app. I split a charge with my wife, charging her $15, and I got an extra $5 back, up to 3 times, so free $15. Other offers are just at some places I would normally shop, so I'm getting extra back for my purchase. So far I've already earned $21.49, so not bad. I call it free money. Well, I think that's enough time to think about if the Gold card is the right card for you. If you do think the Amex Gold card is the right card for you, we have to go over the welcome bonus before you apply. It can be tricky. Usually the basic welcome bonus is 60,000 points after you spend $4,000 in the first 6 months. However, usually if you go into incognito, you can find it easily for 75,000 points after you spend the same amount in the same amount of time. Sometimes you can find referral links like mine in the Linktree link in the description for a higher amount. I would also check around Reddit if my referral link offer isn't too good. The referral bonuses changes all the time, so you do have to do a bit of searching. However, my favorite welcome bonus comes from Resy.com, which is a restaurant reservation website owned by American Express. Usually it's a pretty consistent welcome bonus with a 75,000 point welcome bonus after you spend $4,000 in 6 months. Nothing special, but here's the kicker. You'll also get 20% back at restaurants as credit on your first year up to $250. So you can spend $1,250 at restaurants in a year, which should be very easy if you're applying for the Amex Gold card, basically covering your annual fee. However, I don't like to include the welcome bonus as a deciding factor generally, but especially with the Amex Gold card, because there are no downgrade options to a $0 annual fee. If this card you realize down the road doesn't work for you and you have to cancel, which should be a last resort because it can harm your relationship with Amex. And you really want to be included in the American Express family because they have one of the best customer services in the credit card game. They are fast, well-trained, and so nice. Even better now because Amex included a chat support option in the app, so you don't have to talk to anyone and can get help whenever you want. Pretty awesome, I love it. Now if everything I just said sounds completely awesome to you and you want to know what the application process looks like, well you're in luck because I'm gonna tell you. It's actually pretty awesome. American Express recently introduced Apply with Confidence, which is similar to the Apple Card's application process, where if you fill out an application to apply for the Amex Gold, they will do a soft pull and not a hard pull to see if you will be approved for the Amex Gold card. Therefore, you aren't approved, no damage to your credit score. Awesome, right? Of course, if you are approved, there might be a hard pull if you don't have any other cards with American Express. But wait, before you apply for the Gold card, you also have the option to choose between 2 different colors, the original gold color and the newish rose gold color. Choose carefully, or else these guys will come after you when you're asleep. I actually have a Gold card unboxing short, so check that out if you want to see the gold color in person. And yeah, that's basically my take on the Amex Gold card. Referral links in the description, and I'll see you later.